Hello there, this is Achilles drill where nailing success gets simplified. Welcome to my lecture today where I'll walk you through the concluding part on the osteology of the lower limb. Today we'll talk about the distal end of the femur and then we'll move on to the leg and talk about the bones of the leg as well as the bones of the foot. It's going to be a beautiful session. Ensure you stick with me to the very end. Okay, so now when you talk about the distal end of the femur, in the last class, we started with the proximal part of it, and then we explained that we'll continue with the distal part of the femur. Understand that the distal part of the femur participates in the formation of the knee joint. It articulates with the proximal part of the tibia. This bone right here is the tibia, the medial bone of the leg. It articulates with the distal end of the femur right there. Here is the distal end of the femur, and they give rise to this very large and important joint, the knee joint. Okay, so there are some important structures around the distal end of the femur. We'll talk about the condyles of the femur, medial and lateral condyle, the epicondyle, and even the adductor tubercle somewhere close to the medial epicondyle right there. Okay, I think I have a beautiful picture of those. Wait a second. All right, let's take a look at this. I want you to come down here and focus on this distal part, the distal part of the femur right here. Okay, so I want to draw your attention to the fact that here is an anterior view. We are looking at the femur from in front right here, while what we have right here is a posterior view. We are looking at the femur from behind. Okay, but for now, focus on the anterior view. All right, here there is this important medial condyle right here. There is a medial condyle here, and there is also a lateral condyle here, and they are basically participating in the formation of the knee joint. The medial condyle it articulates with the medial condyle of the tibia, while the lateral condyle articulates with the lateral condyle of the tibia. Although there are some important cartilages right there separating the two bony connections. Okay, but I want you to take note of the fact that they are there, medial condyle and then lateral condyle, and there is even this patellar surface right here that accommodates the bone patella, the sesamoid bone patella. Okay, so that's the anterior view, and then take a look at this tubercle right here. That tubercle is called the adductor tubercle, and a part of the adductor magnus muscle inserts on that adductor tubercle right there. Okay, so and then just above the condyles we have epicondyles. There is a lateral epicondyle and then there is a medial epicondyle. Okay, I think it's properly defined here. Take a look at the medial epicondyle somewhere here, although it's not labeled, but we are seeing a better picture of the lateral epicondyle here. Okay, so those are important structures around the distal end of the femur. These epicondyles, condyles, and all, they are also very important points for muscle attachment as well as ligament attachment. Okay, so just as we add in this picture, can you see the lateral collateral ligament coming from the lateral epicondyle, while the medial collateral ligament is coming somewhere from the medial epicondyle, and then they are inserting to the leg bones, the fibula and the tibia right there. Okay, let me draw your attention to this bone once and for all, the patella. Understand that the patella is a sesamoid bone. It is embedded within tendons. I think there is a nice picture of that right here. Okay, take a look at the patella right here, this bone. This is the patella, and we can see a tendon crossing over it, the quadriceps tendon, and then crossing over it and becoming the patellar tendon. Some people regard it as the patellar ligament as well. So the patellar bone itself, it is embedded within tendons. Okay, and that's what makes it a sesamoid bone. There are other sesamoid bones in the body, but the patella is the largest of them all. So now we'll talk about the leg bones, the bones of the leg, that is the tibia and the fibula. Take a look at this picture right here. Here is the tibia, which is the larger and the media of the two leg bones, and then we have the fibula right here. The fibula is of course smaller, and it is the lateral of the two leg bones. So let's talk about the tibia. Understand that the tibia is also called the chin bone. Another name for it is the chin bone, and then it is the medial and the longer of the two leg bones, as we explained earlier. It has medial and lateral condyles which are involved in the formation of the knee joint, just as we explained earlier. Take a look at this picture. Here is the medial condyle of the tibia, and it also has a lateral condyle, although some important cartilages, lateral and medial meniscus, are sitting on top of the condyle, but they are right there, the bony structures, and they are very much involved in the formation of the knee joint. Okay, don't forget medial condyle of the femur is here, medial condyle of the lateral condyle of the femur is right there, and they are forming the knee joints. So the tibia is also that important, and then it has a tibia tuberosity for the attachment of the patellar tendon. There is this roughened end right here. Can you come here? This roughened end is called the tibia tuberosity, and is important for the insertion point of the patellar tendon. You have a beautiful picture of that. Yeah. So the patellar tendon is a continuation of the quadriceps tendon. At the point where it crosses the patella, the name changes. Initially, it is called patellar tendon, but on crossing the patella, it changes to patellar tendon. So it is inserting on this roughened edge, this roughened end of the tibia, called the tibia tuberosity. And the patellar tendon, which was initially the quadriceps tendon, is the collective tendon of the quadriceps muscle. Vastus medialis, lateralis, intermedius, together with rectus femoris, they come together and give rise to this distal tendon. The important tendon crosses over the patella and then inserts on the tibia tuberosity. Okay, let's say other things about the tibia. Understand that distally, the tibia has a medial projection called the medial malleolus. Can you try and move down to your ankle and feel this protuberance? Palpate that protuberance on the medial edge of your ankle. I'm sure you will feel that bony structure right there on the medial end. That is the medial malleolus. However, on the lateral end, there is also an important lateral malleolus. If you touch the lateral part of your ankle, you will feel that bony projection. That's the lateral malleolus. But I want you to understand that the medial malleolus is formed by the tibia bone, distal end of the tibia bone. But the lateral malleolus is formed by the fibula, the distal end of the fibula. Okay, although we'll get to the osteology of the fibula right now. So understand that both the distal end of the tibia, that is the medial malleolus, together with the distal end of the fibula, that is the lateral malleolus, they contribute in the formation of the ankle joint. Okay, right here is a picture showing the distal end of the fibula right there, and of course we have the distal end of the tibia here. They are participating in giving rise to the ankle joint. There are some important tarsal bones right here, and the distal ends articulate with those tarsal bones. Then the ankle joint is formed right there. We'll talk about the tarsal bones. Okay, so now moving on to the fibula. The fibula is also called the calf bone. Okay, in the case of the tibia, another name for it is the shin bone, but the fibula is called the calf bone. Okay, and it is the lateral and shorter of the two leg bones. It is lateral, that is far away from the midline, and then shorter compared to the tibia. And then I want to draw your attention to this point right here. The head of the fibula, which is of course proximal somewhere here. Are you taking a look at the head of the fibula? I want you to understand that it is closely associated with this important nerve called the common peroneal nerve. Common peroneal nerve. You can check out our video on common steeplechase questions associated with the anatomy of the lower limb. Okay, so I made emphasis on this point as well. The head of the fibula is associated with the common peroneal nerve. That's why a damage or a fracture to the head of the fibula, there is often a high probability that the common peroneal nerve will be affected as well. Okay, so note that. And then distally, the fibula has the lateral malleolus, just as we explained earlier. That's this projection right here, the lateral malleolus, which is the distal end of the fibula. All right, now that was a beautiful one. Let's talk about the bones of the foot. The bones of the foot, there are 26 bones in the foot to start with. divided into 7 tarsals. We also have 5 metatarsals, and then lastly we have 14 phalanges. Don't worry, I'll walk you through each of these. Starting with the tarsals. The tarsals are these short bones right here. There is one right here called the heel bone or the calcaneus. We even have another one right here called the talus. The talus is otherwise called the ankle bone. And then we have this important cuboid bone here. We also have the navicular bone here, and then we have about 3 cuneiform. There's one cuneiform, another cuneiform, and then another cuneiform right there. So there are 7 of them. I will show you a better picture of this, but I just want to understand that we have them right here: 7 tarsal bones, calcaneus, talus, navicular, the 3 cuneiform, and then the cuboid. And then metatarsals. The metatarsals are right here. Here is one metatarsal. We have 5 of them. Another one, and another one. And then we have 14 phalanges. In our previous lecture on the osteology of the lower limb part 1, we explained that each toe is made up of 3 phalanges except the thumb, the big toe. The big toe has just 2 phalanges, just number 1 and 2. However, the lateral 3 toes have 3 phalanges in each. Okay, there is the proximal phalange, the intermediate phalange, and then the distal phalange. Okay, and in between them are joints. Okay, we have the proximal interphalangeal joint and even a distal interphalangeal joint. Okay, so those are the bones of the foot right here. Here is a picture showing the various bones of the tarsals. Okay, all right, I want to believe you can see this properly. Take a look at the first one here, the calcaneus, which is the heel bone. The just around the heel. Okay, and then we have the talus, which is this one right there, the ankle bone. We have this important navicular right there, and then we have the cuboid. The cuboid is number 7. Lastly, we have this 3 cuneiform right there, number 4, 5, and 6. So there is the lateral, there is a medial cuneiform, the lateral cuneiform, and then the intermediate cuneiform in the middle. So those are the tarsal bones, the 7 tarsal bones. Right here are the metatarsals, and of course we have the phalanges right there. So on that's that about the osteology of the lower limb. I'm sure you enjoyed the session. We started with the hip bone. We talked about the various parts of the hip bone. We explained it is made up of 3 parts: the ilium, the ischium, and the pubis. We moved on to the femur, talked about the proximal part of the femur as well as the distal end, and then we talked about the bones of the leg, tibia and fibula, and lastly we emphasized on the bones of the foot. Talk about the tarsals, metatarsals, and the phalanges. Okay, and that's that about that. Here are my references, and we come to the end on the osteology of the lower limb. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you find the video helpful, do well to hit the like button. Also subscribe to our channel. When you subscribe, you have access to numerous videos we've got in store for you. And then lastly, check the description box. There is a link to a quiz I've created for you, just for you to consolidate everything we've learned so far on the osteology of the lower limb part 2. I'm very sure you'll find the quiz helpful. Do well to attempt it. All right, thank you very much.